I may have two left feet, but I would put my chair dancing skills up against about anybody in the universe. Please, feel free on next week's sales meeting to challenge me. We are going to go ahead and dive in here, guys. We are continuing our thematic approach to sales meetings this month. We've got a really awesome one for the May is for Mofers. We're going to talk golden letters with Scott Carpenter in just a few minutes. Before that, I want to start with a conversation around our belief system, like we always do, and then talk a little bit about some of the tactics from the book Shift. I think this week, the one that speaks to me is success. If you talk to anybody, and if you're not feeling it yet, give it about 2 days, and you probably will. The market's shifting, right? And there is an opportunity that we have here as real estate agents and as small business owners to get tough as the going gets tough, and really focusing on what success means to you, what it means to your family, the why, or your big why, as you'll often hear referred to in the Keller Williams ecosystem, is going to help you do the things that you have to do to have the results that you want. And I want to encourage you to focus on success, because the pathways and reward centers for achievement are carved deeply into our brains as humans. And when we deny that, or when we avoid that, or we meander away from that because of some other explanation that the market's hard or rates are high, or there just aren't enough deals to go around, whatever it is, we are denying our nature. And I want to emphasize how we define success in Keller Williams, and that's results through people. And I would go as far to augment that a little bit and say results with people. If you have, take a minute this week, think about what it is that you are trying to achieve. Why did you embark on this journey for a career in real estate? Why build your business? And then who can help you do that? I promise you that the person that you need, the thing that you need, the opportunity that you need is inside of our organization. Here locally, regionally, or internationally, the opportunity is there, the person is there. So if you can dial in on what is it that I need to achieve the success that I want, and you can find it in another person or a model or system here at Keller Williams. Thinking about the shift, right? As I said, if you aren't feeling it yet, you will be momentarily. So we've been working through for the past several weeks the 12 tactics in Shift. And if you don't have a copy of Shift, we have a bunch in the office. Pick one up. We'll throw a charge on your invoice, and you'll have quite possibly the most important asset or resource that you would need for the next 12 to 18 months in your hand. So the two tactics that we're covering this week are to create urgency and expand the options, right? So creating urgency is overcoming buyer reluctance. And as rates continue to creep up and people have expectation that they'll continue to creep up, we want to make sure that we are tapped in, dialed in, focused on what's happening in that mortgage market. Both of these are going to relate heavily to some opportunities that you can explore with our mortgage partners, Sean Hadley, Don Jarecki, and Chris Bullock from Cross Country Mortgage. So one is make sure we have a perspective, and better yet, leverage the perspective of mortgage professionals to talk to individuals about what the difference in buying now versus buying in 3 months or 6 months would be. In the forecast is for rates to go up. In the forecast is for home values to go up, right? So if home values go up and rates go up, you're doubling down on the cost, or you're doubling down on negative impacts to affordability for your clients, right? And it'll be a little bit worse in 3 months, and a little bit worse 3 months of that, and a little bit worse 3 months from that. We are not forecasting tipping backwards in home values for almost 18 months at this point. It should be the back half of 2023. So unless we're going to wait until then to buy, right, then we need to be having that conversation with our people to keep them in the game and keep them in the fight. And then the second thing, is expanding the options that they're approaching this with. And so in Shift, they talk about creative financing. Well, that can sometimes get you in Enron type situations if you think too creatively when it comes to financing. What I want you to think about is, 12 months ago, it was, rates were on the floor. Let's get you pre-approved. Let's hammer this thing home. Let's lock up something near a 3. Well, now, options like VA, FHA, all these different financial products that Sean, Don, and Chris bring to bear for you and your clients, and a lot of different ways. They have the fast track pre-approval program, which is like a super pre-approval that effectively operates like a cash offer. The idea that it is get pre-approved, get a mortgage, buy a house, like if that's the only path, you're going to limit the number of buyers that you can serve. And so I won't steal all the thunder from our mortgage Mount Rushmore over there with those 3 guys, but I will say that if you're not exploring and having conversations with your people about all of the financial products available to keep them in the game, to manage the rates down, to protect their cash on hand, I promise you those will become more and more viable options and more attractive to any seller as we move through the shift. So once again, copies of the shift available in the office. If you're interested in one, let me know, or reach out to anybody on our leadership team. So from the month of April, want to shout out all of our new agents. We had a really strong month, so welcome to all of these wonderful, wonderful women. Ironically, we had 13 of the 14 new agents in the month of April were women. So Roger Childs, you're a thorn amongst roses, my friend. Just kidding, but really excited for all of these folks to be starting their careers, or for those that transferred from other brokerages to be moving their businesses to Keller Williams to grow in a big, big way. And a lot of these folks we met at career nights. And so big thank you to Robbie, Rihanna, and the Socher team for inviting and filling the room with some really outstanding folks last night. We had a tremendous conversation in the Rocky River training room and on Zoom, right? Because everything's also via Zoom now. So big thank you to everyone who was in the room and filled the room and helped us have a really impactful conversation and bring more people into our very strong and productive community. Speaking of which, if you missed it, or if you're like, oh, when's the next one in Pepper Pike, or what's going on? Here are the dates, right? Here are the dates. The easiest way to strengthen your ties or to invest in yourself is through profit share. And the easiest way to get a profit share is, you know somebody who's looking for a career change, you're looking for somebody who's interested in different opportunities beyond their W-2 employment, get them in the room with us. We have a full-throated conversation about the industry, what happens, how to get in, what you need to do, what success looks like, and how we support everyone. So we really appreciate all of the referrals that we get, and we'll take very good care of them along the way. So this Thursday at 11 a.m. at the Cleveland Racquet Club, we have a very, very impactful session with the top real estate attorney in the state of Ohio. Who knows, maybe the world. I don't know. I'm not ruling it out yet. What I'm saying is Cindy Lammert is an absolute rock star. Now, if you've never worked with Cindy, that's actually a great sign, because it means you've kept yourself out of trouble, or from being trouble adjacent. But Cindy is an authority on all things real estate law in Ohio. And so, you know, yes, this is going to be continuing education. I know some people are like, well, I already have CE. I promise you that this conversation is going to be something that, whether or not you're just there to qualify for the CE, whether or not you've already got your core law, you will find this to be impactful and helpful, and will make you a bigger and better authority for your clients and for protecting your business. So that just went in the chat. We do have a limited number of seats. Those seats will sell out. So please go get your ticket right now. And let's make sure that you check your core law box, you get into relationship with one of the top real estate minds in the state of Ohio, and you get what you need to move forward with your business. And then coming up the first week of June, we continue our reverse book club with our very own Jake Lozier, who's taking us through a Gary Keller original, The One Thing. So this is a Keller Williams staple. It is a book that if you haven't read, again, copies available at the office, pick one up, dive into it. And if you don't like to read, don't want to read, Jake's going to read it for you and break down his top takeaways. Jake's been with our organization for over 15 years and has a great perspective on business building. And he's going to pull some top ideas out of The One Thing, consolidate them for you so that you can put them into action to drive your business through the second half of this year. So do not miss that opportunity. And then in June, we have a great feature presentation, feature class with a prospective bold coach, Eddie Donnelly. So Eddie is in the application and audition process to be a bold coach, and he and I were catching up post Red Day, having a great time, and he's like, hey, you know, I'm going down. I'm going to be doing. I'm going into the next round of auditions. Want to get some reps in, and Eddie is in culture. He is a mastermind in and of himself. And so we asked him if he would lean into and teach the 6 personal perspectives, which are core to the bold experience. They're core to every class that Keller Williams and Keller Williams University puts on. They're going to show up there. And so do not miss the opportunity to learn from an incredibly talented agent, an incredibly talented business owner, and an incredibly talented coach in Eddie Donnelly. That's going to be June 29th at 11 a.m. That is an in-person only event. We want to fill the room. It's going to be interactive. It's going to be live. It's going to be fun. So get that on your calendars now for the end of June. And then continuing with our conversation around our sales meetings being a little bit more thematic and building on themselves. Listings have always been important. And there's been a lot of listings in the last 12 to 18 months, up until the point that there isn't, right? And so we are seeing listings dry up in the market. They're down anywhere from 10 to 20% month to date, if you're looking, depending on what you're looking at. And they do not appear to be picking up steam heading into June. So listings are going to be absolutely gold, more so than they have been, right? And not in just I put it on the market and it sells in 2 days. Listings are a core to building a stronger real estate business and getting more affordable and more productive leads. So June, we're going to be focused on finding the listing, winning the listing, and maximizing a listing once you have it. We're going to bring some of our top agents out, as we have for the MOFR month of May. And they're going to be dropping knowledge on everybody every Tuesday morning throughout the month of June. And then for all of you cappers out there, and for anyone who's near capping, if you needed a little bit more incentive to sneak one in, we are having a capper happy hour on Thursday, June 23rd. Very excited for this. It's a very fun event where we get to celebrate the huge accomplishment of being a capper, and have a couple of cocktails, have a couple of laughs. The venue, TBD. There's a couple pretty awesome spots that we are going to that we're exploring some partnership with. So put that on your calendar right now. If you're a capper, you're going to be a capper. This is going to be your party, your happy hour, and it's going to be an absolute ball. If you'll remember, we were at All Saints in the Detroit Shoreway last year, and it was a really good time. I'm going to go ahead right now and guarantee that we're going to have awesome weather for this event, and you'll be happy you were there. All right, throwing it over to the big guys, Sean and Don. Gentlemen, what's going on? What's on the horizon?
Just all good things, all good things. Interest rates a bit stable from last week to this week, and we said that was hopefully in our future, and it's a bit refreshing just to have, you know, a quiet day here or there. I'm sure as I'm saying that the market may be going haywire, but inflation, stocks, you know, the big headlines, and of course interest rates in there as well. So we'll keep you posted on that. A couple weeks back, I mentioned about second opinions, and just want to share an experience yesterday. Had a buyer, I don't say reluctantly calling, but I was one of 3 people he planned to talk to. First person never called back. The second person issued him a pre-approval letter for $166,000. And 5-minute talk over the phone, I kind of said, hey, based on what you're telling me, here's what I think we can do. Buyer real cautious. We came in, we met for about an hour, almost an hour and a half before he let me pull the credit report. And you know how this story ends is he has a pre-approval for a $250,000 loan amount. So a second opinion, frankly, there's no harm in doing it. Part of the reason this conversation lasted so long, partly building trust, but really he was trying to have me explain why the other lender only had him pre-approved for $84,000 less, and I didn't have an answer for that. So whether it's, you know, looking at alternate mortgage programs, talking about our fast track, or you know, obviously interest rates and all that, there's really no downside to us issuing a second opinion. Hey, if you feel good with who you're with and you got a good deal, you know, we're not above telling you that, yeah, you got something good there. Feel free to run with it. But if there's somewhere where we can come in looking a little bit better, closing a little bit faster, offering a better interest rate, or just frankly explaining the process better. This person was all excited about his original pre-approval, except for the amount, and really had no understanding about the mortgage process. By the time we were done, in addition to having a higher ceiling, they know much more about the process and what's in store for them moving forward. So anyway, just my take on a second opinion. Don?
What can I say? You're Sean Hadley. You're the best. I have nothing to add to that. I mean, how do you follow that up?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Sean Hadley's been, I think his first mortgage he gave to Adam and Eve when they were first expelled from the Garden of Eden. They needed a place to stay, so he just locked that up for them.
They had good credit scores, basically.
Yeah, I think, guys, when we talk about creative financing options, the piece I talked about at the beginning with the shift, getting your people in front of Sean or Don for a second opinion is a creative financing option, right? The level of experience, the level of intentionality, the level of support that they're going to bring to the table. I really want everybody to be on high alert. There are great people who are crushing the refi game, who have made the switch to purchase money mortgage, who are going to be successful in the purchase money mortgage market. But the transition that a lot of people will make from 2 years of slamming refis at 2.5% to 3% to having to navigate a bevy of financial products, we need to be leaning into experienced resources like Sean and Don, because as the deals start to thin out in the shift, making sure that they stay together is a top priority.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks, Mike.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, Mike, let me add it real quick. You know, the second opinion isn't us looking for an opportunity to steal a deal from another institution. The second opinion is there for just like Sean's situation, exactly what he did. He has we don't know why the other institution, you know, approved him for a lot less, but this is the reason you do a second opinion. It's not for us just to steal a deal. It's to educate somebody a little bit more in a transaction. I know myself, when I look at a deal, I'll say to the customer, you know, if you have any questions, even if you don't go with me, you're welcome to call me throughout the entire transaction, just so I can make sure that you understand what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So that's what the second opinion is all about.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Pull all the resources you can to get deals done in this market. Love it. Tiffany, how are we doing this morning?
Wonderful, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Couple updates for you guys today. We posted on the Facebook page, but Jaga County has announced they are getting rid of their well and septic, or rather septic, point of sale inspection. They are going to be doing random sort of timely audits of septics and inspections, but it doesn't stop us from transferring, which is amazing. It's great for everybody involved, lenders, title, buyers, sellers. It's wonderful. So they're certainly still welcome to get a septic inspection on their own, but it's no longer required. Every property that transfers up into July 1st does have to have this. Any that transfer after do not. So it's great news. If you guys have any questions, you can go to the Jaga Department of Health's website. There's some info there, or just give Jade a call. She'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Our office will be closed on Memorial Day. So we hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday. And Jade is hosting a lunch and learn next week. Or no, I'm sorry, tomorrow.
All right.
Yes, thank you. At 1 o'clock via Zoom. It's all about entities and title. So if you have a seller who's in title, probate, LLC, corporation, guardianship, there's a lot that goes into it. You need to know, are they even authorized to sell this property? Are they authorized to sign the contract? We have multiple situations where an LLC might be in title, but an LLC is a member of that LLC, or a corporation. There's multi-layers. So there's a lot that goes into it. This is a great way to add value, especially for your investor clients, to understand what to ask for upfront. I will note that once we approve an LLC or an entity, we do save those in a secure spot. So we never ask for those again, unless we may ask them just to ensure nothing has changed, depending on how long it was since we did the last closing. But investors, they want to be ensured that they don't have to keep sending title over and over the same documentation. So we save that on file for any future orders. So we hope that you guys can attend. Go to either our Facebook page or your internal Facebook page. There's a QR code there. You can RSVP there, or reach out to Jade and she'll make sure you get a spot.
I love that. A really, really awesome opportunity, guys, for, as she mentioned, the opportunity to educate your investors or be a better realtor to your investor clients. If you have investor clients or people interested in investing that are not taking their title into or acquiring the property through an LLC, it might be a way that you can educate them, help them protect themselves. And if they are, certainly you want to be as sophisticated and educated as you can on the process around that. So thank you for bringing that to bear, GM Title.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Gina Legeza. Gina, how are you this morning? What's the latest from APHW?
Doing well, thank you, Michael. I'm glad to be here. AC season is upon us. As the temperatures start to soar, we know that we have a huge number of AC claims coming in. Something to remember from properties that weren't tested last year because temperatures were too cold to test. We're going to ask for their home inspection if they had one. If they didn't, we're going to trust that things are in good working order. Remember, they need to use their system once. And if there's a problem and it's covered, we're going to be there to help. Something that I'm seeing a lot of, Michael, over 87% of homeowners in last year's market of 2021 are walking around without a home warranty, unfortunately. So I thought I'd go back to basics and talk about why. Why a home warranty? It's reducing your risk. It's helping protect the asset, and will help with out-of-pocket expenses. For the agent, guys, it's protecting your referral. For sure, it's protecting your referral. We're going to give you updates if they had any claims through our electronic repair card. That way you can keep in touch with your client. So just a little why a home warranty and the importance of it, and just a little bit about the AC season coming up. So thanks, Michael.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for all you do for our agents and their clients, Gina.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Jessica Ivins, good morning. How is the property management ecosystem?
Hey, Mike, good morning. Hi, everybody. First of all, I wanted to thank you for all of your referrals, everybody that has been sending referral clients our way. We're very appreciative of that. A lot of you have been calling me about the lead paint program in Cleveland. A few weeks ago, I shared with you on our Facebook page a little FAQ about that. So if you would like a PDF copy of that, please reach out, let me know. The program is not going anywhere. So if you're working with clients who are purchasing investment properties in the city of Cleveland, and you have questions about the lead paint program, feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you have. And of course, if you just have any questions in general about property management or want to run past some rental rates, you are always welcome to reach out to me.
That's terrific. Thank you for being a continued resource and for being a great piece of leverage for our agents. As the market shifts, property management is going to become a bigger and bigger solve for investors who are not pure play investors and are the economy starts to shift and their work-life balance starts to change. They may be looking for somebody to manage those 8 bungalows that they have because they no longer want to do it or can do it themselves. And so the opportunity to get them into the hands of capable property managers like the ones at Greater Metropolitan Management, very impactful.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely. Speaking of impactful, the MOFR is the name of the game in a shifting market. We have to be creating opportunities for our clients to respond immediately, opt in, opt out, right? We have to find the motivated, and we have to be making offers for immediate response. Now, we've talked before about how, there's the indirect offer for immediate response around real estate, right? So we heard last week from Jordan Shoger as he talked about how, he offers people resources and support around home ownership or POS or other things not directly related to the sale of their property. So that's an indirect MOFR, right? Then there are direct MOFRs, and that's what we're going to talk about today with the guru of the golden letter, Mr. Scott Carpenter. So if we can spotlight Scott, I am gonna do my very best to make it through the next 20 minutes without mentioning his amazing hair more than 5 times. And so, Scott, I'm gonna drop this screen so we can get you up on the big board for everybody. Would you start just by telling us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been with KW, and what you've done with your business since being here?
All right, I've been here for I'm actually closing in on 3 years. So I did start in 19. However, I really didn't start my business until January of 2020. Great timing, right? But anyhow, since then, I've been gradually growing the business, and I have to give a big shout out to a couple of people, and that's number one, Terry Chmielewski introduced me to maps, and I got into maps quite frankly because I knew I could do this business, but I needed more than the red book. And Terry was fantastic at introducing me to maps, and I've gotten into maps, and now I have a maps coach who is out of he and his wife have a number of market centers in New Jersey, and Jay Ritchie, and Jay has really done, and all of the coaching other clients of his, I've learned a tremendous amount from those folks. And by the way, I have to say, let's go back to the beginning of being with this particular market center and say that we have a tremendous coaching team, and I can't say enough about those guys as well. I learned an awful lot from them. So Getting into maps really though was what I needed personally to get my business in order. And quite frankly, with the pandemic, I needed a lot of support. So that's been tremendous. And I'm in the breakthrough level, so it's $450 a month. And at the time that I started that, I was also paying for leads from Zillow and other lead sources, and I just stopped doing that when I got into Maps coaching. Wow. And one of the things that I did early on, which is what the topic of today is, in addition to doing all of our normal bold stuff, getting in touch with lots of people and having lots of conversations about real estate and life, I started getting into what you're describing as a mofer. And one of those things that I've been doing is the golden letter. I realized, I had a lot of buyers and I wasn't marketing my buyers. And I decided, well, I'm going to market my buyers. I sold a house, $325,000 cash and investment property. And I decided I would, again, through coaching, support through coaching. Hey, Scott, why don't you try this? And I wrote a golden letter to investors in that neighborhood where I had sold that $325,000 triple triplex. And the golden letter was pretty simple. Would you be interested in selling your investment property to a client of mine? I recently sold a triplex for $325,000 cash. More than 20 investors toured the property and 7 offers were made, all above the asking price of $310,000. If you'd like to talk, call me, 216, blah, blah, blah.
So in the market of the last 12 months, it feels like everybody's had a bunch of buyers, and it's almost something that you would bemoan, like, oh, I have so many buyers. And through coaching, you were able to identify that those buyers could actually be used as leverage.
That's right.
Right.
I did that with the golden letter, and I also did that. I put that golden letter, not just this one, but when I do circle prospecting, when I knock on doors, it's on the back of the just listed or just sold flyer. I have clients, or I had offers on the house up the street that I just sold, and I have that. I can call those clients, those buyers today if you're interested in selling. So I'm having conversations around marketing my buyers.
Mm-hmm. So Scott, that almost seems too simple, right? Like, has that always been just the short, sweet, tight, simple letter, or was your first one more verbose and it wasn't getting read, or was?
No. The simplest letter is, would you be interested in selling your home to a client of mine? And that I hand wrote.
Okay.
Because I don't want to write any more than that if I'm going to write 200 of these.
Right.
Every one of these was personalized, by the way. So if I did a little bit of research and got as many names as I could, both for that investor letter and for the circle prospecting that I would do, they're as personal as I can make them. And if I could write them a small note card, I did that.
Nice. So that it's so is there anything that you're doing? You're putting that in the mail. I think I've seen some things where it goes in a red envelope or it goes in a gold envelope, or not necessarily gimmicky.
No, I personalize it. I put my own personal return address on it, so that if it doesn't get delivered, it gets back to me. Mm-hmm. And I do. I can say that I had on that particular letter, I've done over 7 deals.
So you sent that?
I sent this out once.
Once to how many recipients?
About 250 investors.
So a 3%, not even response rate, deal rate.
I did, and by the way, a lot of that. Now let's be clear, mm-hmm. Okay? You can't expect this to work unless you are prepared to answer the call. And when you do, make sure that you have the conversation you need to have. So
what's that
my-
conversation?
My conversation is very simple. First of all, I'm going to find out who they are. Tell me more about your property, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, right? I want to find out what kind of an investor they are first, right? And then I say, so how can I help? And then they go, well, wait a minute, I'm calling you because you had buyers. And I said, yeah, exactly. So when can we get together?
Mm-hmm.
And my whole thing is about setting that first appointment and getting in the door and having an in-person conversation with investors. And when I've done that, every single time I've gotten listings out of it.
Wow. Now, how many of those listings, because you're coming to the conversation saying, I've got a buyer, right? And how many times are you getting this person who's like, well, where's your buyer? I don't want to list. Where's your buyer?
Yeah, no, so here's my job. My job is to find out whether or not your listing with me is going to be, if I'm going to have a buyer that's going to be a match for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's why I'm here today, to find out whether or not this is a match for one of my buyers. And invariably, I can say, absolutely, it is. It is a match. The question is will my buyer be interested in your particular house? And at that point, we're listing the house, so it doesn't really matter. I've listed the house before I've left, right?
Right. So it's an above board conversation. You're not saying you've got buyers that would be interested that actually aren't. You have that.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not you have buyers that are interested in buying properties. That's an honest statement.
Exactly.
And is it a match here? And hey, listen, my job is now to get you the best price for your listing, and whether it's my buyer or any others.
Exactly. And keep in mind, I'm creating relationships with investors who are also buyers.
Who are also buyers.
So it's just a matter of, well, I'm marketing my buyers, and I'm adding to my buyers list with every one of these conversations.
Right. Oh, wow.
By the way, I don't.
There.
Yeah, and by the way, I wasn't afraid to list all of your buyers, you out there in
Right.
I wasn't afraid to do that because I knew that you also had buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And if I needed to reach out to all of you at the market center, that was easy.
Yeah, what a great piece of leverage, right?
So yeah, and I just took the approach that Maps and Gold will teach you, which is they're gonna list with somebody. It might as well be me.
Might as well be you. So you've had success with the initial run. Have you repeated? Have you expanded your footprint? Have you?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what's
the
evolution here?
Well, I counted them up. In the last year, I've done 11 deals.
11.
And more are coming. So because they kind of beget each other. So I sold a bunch of houses to a cash buyer from out of town. Well, now that cash buyer's on the hook. And oh, by the way, I'm working on bringing the agent into KW.
Oh, how convenient.
But the point is that this is like follow-up 101, right? So once you have initiated a conversation, have gotten in a relationship with somebody who's a potential client, the question is how quickly can you make them a client? And so now I'm working not only for them, but I'm working for all the other interested investors in this case that we're talking about. And that's put me in the middle of all of that, which has really turned out great this year.
Well, when you move from when you move through that relationship in the way that you do, you move from being a realtor to their realtor, right?
Yeah, let's be clear. I think of it much more than just a realtor. Sorry, I don't mean to belittle.
No. I love this.
But listen, this is about, for me, I think of this as wealth building, and I consider this kind of like financial advising, right? And by the way, I don't profess that I'm a financial advisor, but like we were talking about earlier, in terms of creative financing and things like that,
right.
I can open up the box and I can say, hey, I can put you in touch with somebody who can help you with that. Whether it's, we were talking about title, for example, my investors should be getting, some discount on title work, for example. So I immediately, make sure they are. Hey, are you getting a discount with the title company when you're selling? You're not? Well, let me put you in touch with a title company that'll help you with that. So I become their resource in that way, and that's super important to them, obviously, because margins are everything for investors.
Yeah. So if you were gonna coach me on my next step, or give me the next step, so at once just send the letter, right? Did you have a barrier where you like, I can't believe I'm actually going to do this? I don't know if I want to, it's $125 in stamps, right?
No,
Like, was there any limiting belief around this?
No. I sent out 500 letters at a time. And by the way, I have to say, I have not been doing it lately, and I'm kicking myself because I need to be getting back into it. But nevertheless, I will be. So I appreciate your bringing this up, because it made me reflect on, okay, so this is how I actually did that, and how to rinse and repeat, right? So start out by getting a targeted list. Is it going to be in a neighborhood that you're selling houses in? Yes. In my case, it's easy if I do it that way, because I do have, like, right now, I just sold a house. I had 11 offers on it. And you can be damn sure I'm going to market every one of those offers, even though they're not my buyers.
Right.
Okay. And so number one, I'm gonna hit that neighborhood, both with the golden letter and knocking on doors, right? And then I'm going to be very clear about what I just said to you guys about dialogues and scripts, so that I'm not all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. The number one thing I need to do is set up an appointment with them. Until I can set up an appointment and meet with them, I can't really learn about where my opportunity is. So you don't get the opportunity at the door or on the first phone call. You set the appointment. Don't try to talk your way through all of the, scenarios, objections, and everything else. Just handle the one objection to have the appointment. Just get the appointment. Okay.
Everybody write that down. Because it is such a tempting thing, right? We are problem solvers, right? We want to, and we got a live one on the line. They called us. Let's sell this house today.
When they give you the objection, well, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this, or wasn't really thinking about selling my house. You ask a powerful question, and you say, well, what would it mean to you if you did sell your house today for $350,000? And then they answer, and they go, and then you say, well, and that's why we should meet. Why don't you at least consider it? So why don't we meet, and I can show you how we can get this done. And then when they say, well, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go if I do sell my house? And you say, well, that's exactly why we should meet.
Yeah.
So that I can show you how that's not going to be a problem. So when can we meet? What time is good for you? 3 o'clock today or 4 o'clock tomorrow?
So good. So good. So how, and I want to, I know we're talking about golden letters here, but you brought up something that we talk about a lot, which is, this shift in the market. We're going to move. It was a speed-based market for the last 18 months, right? It's like, who could get their person in fast, and who could write the offer, and who could write the biggest one to take it off the market. We're moving into a skill-based market. You brought up your dialogues, right? Which I know is a core pillar of the MAPS coaching experience. But how was there a moment where you realized, like, this really works, or I'm taking this seriously, or I need to sharpen my saw around dialogues because I had 7 people call me and I didn't get a single appointment?
Yeah, well, first of all, Michael, I believed I was excellent at all of this. And the fact is that I wasn't. What I learned is that I do have actually a natural ability, but the problem is that I wasn't saying the right things. I wasn't getting the appointment because I wasn't closing on the appointment. The fact is that, as we know, that if you get the appointment, then you have a much, much higher chance of getting the listing. So I refocused my scripts on getting the appointment. My dialogue was on getting the appointment. And doing all the pre-qualification, finding out all that you can about a person and their situation in that initial phone call, so that when you go into that conversation, when you meet with them, you're having a really valuable conversation to them around what their needs are. And at that point, you're really just saying, how can I help?
Yeah. Yeah. When you ask the right questions in the pre-qualification for any appointment, right? Listing appointment, buyer consultation, and any.
You just froze. Hey, I'm going to say something while you're frozen. Is everybody hearing me? Okay. Language of sales. It's coming on. MAPS is putting on language of sales training coming up, and I don't have the date in front of me, but I noticed that it's coming up again. I recommend it highly. I did it last year. It was a spectacular program. It's done over a number of weeks, and you will learn a lot. If you are serious about this business, I can't recommend it more highly. It really is a terrific, way to learn about how to have impactful conversations with people. I felt like I was doing it naturally, and I think I do. I do the natural downswing. I do the close. But I wasn't doing it with as much, power behind it. And, I do want to be helpful. So how do I motivate people to, get to a point where they are making a really great decision for themselves, right? And language of sales really did help with that. So, yeah, Mike, you're back on.
I'm back on. Sorry about that. I don't know where I cut out, but
you know what it was? It was all this, the gestures and the
getting excited. I mean, using that phone call, to make a really impactful appointment, right? It sounds like was the lesson learned. Pre-qualify, get an understanding of what their concerns or objections are going to be, and then demonstrate an understanding of that reality in person. You're going to form trust immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. And use, a couple of things. First of all, presuppositions. Use, in other words, meet them where they are. So if you get the sense that, that they understand something, just say, well, of course you do. So you say something like, well, of course you know, given your experience. So you just patted them on the back. You just let them know that you think highly of them. And then you launch into whatever it is that you want to motivate them around. And it could just be, wouldn't it make sense then that we get together and talk about a game plan for making that happen? Or, whatever. And then that's the close. What time works for you? I've got time this afternoon. And play it cool, like not this in your face sales talk stuff. So it's not that. It's not that.
Yeah, framing the appointment as like, hey, we're gonna get together, we're gonna have a conversation. It's gonna be fun, right? Not like I'm coming to list your house.
Well, and mirror and match, Michael. So if someone's not, crazy, excited, person, you got to meet them where they are. You can't be crazy and excited when someone isn't, and when the person you're speaking with isn't. So make sure you mirror and match them when you do. But getting back to the golden letter, the bottom line is that you can do these. And by the way, you can find these on the internet. It's not hard. There's all kinds of them out there. But that line, simply put, would you be interested in selling your home to a client of mine? If you can show somebody an offer that didn't get accepted, or if you can name a name, my client, Jane Doe, loves this neighborhood and is looking for a house in the neighborhood. She just made an offer on your neighbor's house for $450,000 and she didn't get it. And don't keep talking.
Mm-hmm.
Just let them think about that $450,000. And then say, it's a total, swag here on my part, but I'm wondering is maybe your house is a match. And then let them think about it and say, well, then, if it is, maybe it is. So why don't we get together? It can't hurt. maybe I can help you achieve your goals and theirs at the same time.
Mhm.
The bottom line is that it's a pretty simple conversation after that.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. So the keys are do it, answer the phone when they call, and use the phone call to get to the appointment.
Yes. Yes.
We're not selling houses with handwritten notes. We're getting appointments with them, which allow us to sell houses.
Yeah, let's be clear about this. This is a listing strategy, not a buyer strategy. You're not looking for houses for your buyers. You're
Right.
marketing your buyers. This is a listing strategy. Okay. I can guarantee you don't have the buyer for this house. Like, you need to take that approach, in my mind. And I can honestly say I didn't sell one of those 11 houses to one of my buyers. So it didn't work that way. It's a listing strategy.
Right. I love it. I love it. Can you give us, I know you've got a hard stop at 10:30, so I want to give you time to decompress and
I'm running a script practice. I'm running a script practice for my maps team. So
So I wanted to let you, one more time, everybody who plugs into and leans into maps has tremendous success. And the ROI for you, I think, has been, equally high as what I've seen from everyone else. But I just wanted to give you a chance just to plug, like, hey, if I'm, maybe $450 a month seems like a big number to me. Is there, you mentioned this language of sales program. What are some of the other opportunities that I can just get some exposure, things that you would recommend if I wanted to learn more about Breakthrough or just other things through Maps portfolio?
if you want to learn more about Breakthrough, give me a shout out, send me an email, call me. Whatever, reach out to me, and I will certainly put you in touch with some people that, the program's tremendous. Now, that said, keep in mind, I was spending money on leads.
Mm-hmm.
I am sure there are people on this call who are spending money on leads. And if you are, stop. You will make more money doing it the other way and not spending money on leads. You have plenty of leads in your own database, let alone through these other strategies that I've just described. By the way, I don't do just one thing. I don't just do SOI. Yeah. I do expireds, I do past clients, I do golden letters, I do knock on doors, I do circle prospecting, I do farming. I'm doing everything I can to generate leads. It doesn't cost me anything for the most part. Mm-hmm. Until I start sending letters out or paying for maps, it's really legwork.
Yeah.
It's phone calls. Eventually, now I have Vulcan 7. I'm spending a little bit more money on that. But hell, even today, all of what I spend money on does not add up to what I was spending money on in the beginning when I was paying Zillow and another company called Bold Leads. Mm-hmm. It doesn't add up to anywhere near that. And I'm making more money, a lot more money.
Well, and you're investing in, through Maps coaching in yourself, and through Vulcan 7, which is a dialer, you're investing in technology, which is your first form of leverage, right? And so those things you take with you into any of your lead funnels. Vulcan 7 helps you with circle prospecting. It helps you with your follow-ups, helps you with expires, helps you with FSBOs.
Right.
And your Maps coaching helps you with your dialogues and your strategies and your implementation schedules, which will pay dividends. For years to come versus a deal.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to be hiring an assistant, and that person will be able to use those technologies as well. So that investment now is spread out over at least 2 people, and the leads will be growing. So, and by the way, they will be absolutely growing, because that's why I'm leveraging people. Right. And that's your business model. That's the Red Book 101, right? So the bottom line is that I'm spending less money and getting a lot more for it.
Wow.
By doing what I'm doing. So just keep that in mind if you're spending any money at all on leads, or if you're not spending any money, if you're not doing enough business, it's because you don't have enough leads. And how do you intend to go get more leads? If you're going to spend money doing it, you better have a tremendous ROI.
Right.
Otherwise, there's no point in doing it. And the golden letter is a good example. Huge ROI if you do it right.
Mhm.
And a very, low cost, you could do that once a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Not even spend $500 a month. That's amazing.
Heck,
Well, sir, we are taking you right up to your script practice. Thank you so much. This was fantastic content. Really appreciate you sharing. Guys, I would encourage you, if anything that Scott said, which I'm sure there's something for everybody on this call, if anything he said resonated, Scott, I know you're an open book. I know you love to give back and lean into the culture. I'm going to encourage everybody, drop him a line, pick his brain a little bit, and let's all help each other grow our businesses.
yeah, let's do some business together.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you all for being here this morning. We will see you next week following the Memorial Day holiday for our Market Center update with some more announcements about everything coming down the pike for our company. So have a good one, gang.